Hello guys, this is Shichan Oppa and today I want to share with you how I learned English. There are 5 ways I learned English, and since you are interested in learning the Korean language, I thought it might be helpful for you. Okay, so number one that was helpful for me was immersion. Immersion is being surrounded by certain things. For example, in my case, English. So I had the public school education, so my English knowledge was really not high, which means I wasn't able to really express things out loud in English. And I lacked vocabularies and grammars, so I didn't know what to do to finally be fluent. So what I figured out was to listen to either Hollywood movies or CNN news or sitcom like Friends, American drama series. So I decided to listen to any kind of English materials and content at least 3 hours a day. That was back in 2007 and 8, and I borrowed a cassette tape from my friend, and it was about CNN news. So CNN news were in that cassette tape. So it was a compilation of many news. So it was about 2 hours long. I ended up listening to it more than 100 times, even though I couldn't understand most of it. Yeah. Additionally, I also listened to Barack Obama's speech, so I always listened to it while I was cleaning up my room. So it's important because if you think back to the days you were growing up as a kid, you did not actually study books right off the bat, which means you just listened to what your parents told you and what your parents were saying, and you just observed and listened so that your brain actually can recognize the pattern, figure it out, and say something finally. So I think that's the really good way to build up your foundation, linguistic foundation. So I would say number one, that's the most important thing is immersion. Surround yourself with English materials, especially auditory environment, cassette tape, MP3, YouTube. So in your case, listen to K-dramas a lot. I know that some of you already do, but my recommendation is repetition is key to success, and perfection. So try to repeat those one episode that you particularly like. So replay it and then listen it over and over, and that will help you figure out some patterns. Okay. Oh, now I can understand what chocolate means. I couldn't understand it first time I listened to it, but now I know that you wanna die, I'll kill you, that kind of thing. That was the example. So that was number one, and number two is pronunciation. If you can pronounce certain words correctly, chances are it's more likely that you'll be able to understand that particular word. For example, I bring this up all the time, but there is a adverb called simultaneously, and it means at the same time. I remember first time I was studying that, but that spelling was really tricky, simultaneously, and many of my friends would read it simultaneously, because spellings don't actually give you the clue to what actual pronunciation of it is, sound of it is. But later I figured it out by playing the electric dictionary sound, so the native speaker read it simultaneously, maybe simultaneously, but simultaneously I repeated myself, and then I was able to understand a few weeks later, while I was listening the CNN news cassette tape for like 51st time. I don't know, I had been listening to it for a very long time, and then there was a word that I can finally understand, where I wasn't before. So that was simultaneously, like pizza spinning contest, and so could spin 2 pizzas simultaneously. So that was my eureka moment. So if you really get obsessed with some pronunciation, right, it will be more likely that you will understand Korean sound better. So put a big priority in pronunciation too. And number 3 is pattern. So you don't necessarily create a sentence. It's already been spoken by so many people, so we can only learn from them. Why invent the wheel, right? So in this case, many sentences are a solid pattern plus just reiteration of it, variation of it. So for example, past tense. 저는 오늘, so I today 빅맥을 먹었어요. I today ate Big Mac, right? I ate a Big Mac today. And then you just memorized it, but you treat it like a temporary password that evaporates from your brain like 10 seconds later. It should not be like that. It should be like, if you learned 저는 오늘 먹었어요, you should be able to switch that noun and object part with other kind of food, like 똠양꿍 or kimchi, like Korean barbecue, 닭갈비, etc. So 저는 오늘 닭갈비를 먹었어요. 저는 오늘 샌드위치를 먹었어요. So that you are finally confident with saying whatever you ate today, or saying whatever you ate yesterday. Then only then it's practical to your real life use. So figure out some like 5 to 10 patterns that you would like to use, that you see yourself in the future you will be using very often, and then master that. So for my case, simple past tense was really important, so I tried to get a right pattern of past tense format. So I went to some place, I ate something, I drank something, I played something, I hung out with my friend, like that. So it's been consistent, and then now I got confidence. Number 4 is role play. If you learned a sentence and then you can only use it like you are memorizing the mathematics formula, equation, the knowledge will not stick. It won't stick to your brain. It's like your final exam. After the exam's over, every information and knowledge that you learned is gone, right? So you should be treating this language learning like playing tennis. So if you learned how to properly swing the forehand and the backhand, you should have another player to do a quick game, you know. So have a friend or your family member to practice your Korean with. He or she does not have to be fluent in Korean. They can just take the role of nodding in front of you, or just make them say 정말, 정말, and then you just list all the things that you learned today. But say like you mean it, with the right expression, like right a smile. If you are using the how are you thing, you cannot say how are you, 안녕하세요, without any smile, because we are trying to be friendly when we say those greetings. We want to be close to them, so you need to contain those right timely manner, the right concise feelings and facial expressions. So role playing is really important, but if you don't have any friend or if you don't have any family member, I'm sorry to hear that, but you can still do practice it while you're in the shower. So that's what I would do. In addition to speaking it with my friends, while I'm in the shower, I would memorize and recite the Devil Wears Prada movie lines and Beautiful Minds quotes or Barack Obama quotes, like, "Hi, I'm looking for Emily Charlton, Andrea Sachs. Yes, great. Human Resources suddenly has an odd sense of humor. Follow me," like that. So imagine a little kid, and that's number 5. Don't be anxious, but be curious. Babies learn only 1 or 2 words a day, but it accumulates, and then by the age of 3 or 4, they will have learned over 3,000 to 4,000 words, and it's more than enough to go about the daily conversation. So be curious and don't be in a hurry, because as long as you're on the right track, and then if you choose to repeat those things that in your hand today, some word or phrase that you discovered today, don't let it go by blindly looking for more and more stuff. Just make it perfect, make it stick to you, make it feel like more confident, you know. So if you're afraid of making mistakes, you will end up not saying things, which means in the metaphor of tennis, if you are afraid to hit the net and not swing, you will never be able to improve. So go out there with the racket and the tennis balls, and then you should serve 1,000 times. You should serve your phrase and then the vocabulary that you learned. Go out there, try to use it, and don't be in a hurry. Just 1 word a day is enough if you make sure you don't forget it after today. Okay? So number 1 was immersion, 2 pronunciation, 3 pattern, 4 role play, 5 be curious like a baby. Babies are not afraid to make mistakes. That's why they learn so quick and then they grow up so fast. Okay? So just say to yourself, I'm a baby, I'm growing. This is a part of growing. Okay? So you can do it, and if you have more questions, feel free to leave a comment below, and then I'll be happy to answer you. Okay? This has been Shichan Oppa, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!